Between the size of the royal family and the job of being king, Charles III has his hands full. But despite his royal responsibilities, King Charles takes time to enjoy the role of grandfather. Taking the line of succession and the pressures of being a member of the royal family off the table for a second, King Charles actually has a really sweet relationship with his eldest grandchild, Prince George. When the young prince was just 2 years old, a royal source confirmed to People that Prince George was a frequent visitor at King Charles's Highgrove house, and that the then heir to the throne had outfitted the gardens with a playground just for Prince William and Princess Catherine's eldest child. The two were said to share garden picnics with each other on the grounds, and King Charles even had a garden hut built for Prince George to mark his first birthday. Hut might be a bit of a loose term. People noted that the little outdoor haven included a small stove and a day bench bed and could be transported around the Highgrove property, given that the entire hut sat on a wrought iron frame and wheels. Given to King Charles by Plankbridge, a craftsman's business that benefited from the Prince's trust, the hut found a nice spot in Highgrove's wildflower garden, allowing the little prince to escape the troubles of royal life for a serene afternoon in the great outdoors. Along with the hut was a treehouse, originally built for Prince William all the way back in 1988, that Prince George was also said to enjoy. Clearly, Grandpa's house is the place to be. King Charles shared his feelings about becoming a grandparent for the first time in 2013. He told The Telegraph it was important to him to connect with Prince George, and reflected on his own close relationship with his grandmother, the Queen Mother, saying, "The great thing is to encourage grandchildren, show them things to take their interest. My grandmother did that. She was wonderful. It is very important to create a bond when they are very young." King Charles shared that he and Prince George share a love of gardening and watching the plants at Highgrove grow over time.
And all I've tried to do here is to see if I could produce something that warmed the heart and fed the soul.
In an interview on BBC Radio 4's Gardener's Question Time, he said, "The most important thing is I got him, George, planting a tree or two here. So we planted it together and shoveled in the earth. That's the way I think, when you are very small. And then each time they come, you say, 'Do you see how much the tree has grown?' or whatever, and you hope that they take an interest." What else did King Charles and the Prince bond over? Camilla, Queen Consort, revealed that the King reads Harry Potter to Prince George whenever they are in Scotland together. In case you missed it, titles are a big deal in the monarchy. They symbolise status and a sense of nobility, and are often tied to historically important figures. The title of Duke of Edinburgh is one of the most sought after in the British royal family. Famously held by Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh inherits a sizable dukedom. When Prince Edward, Queen Elizabeth's youngest child, married Sophie, Countess of Wessex, it was announced that the title would be given to him after the passing of his parents. But plans have changed. King Charles is instead holding out to one day give the title to Princess Charlotte, his second eldest grandchild. This decision comes as Princess Charlotte is the first royal female not to be circumvented in the line of succession by her younger brother, Prince Louis. According to an anonymous source speaking to the Daily Mail, discussions are underway, but the favoured outcome for the king is that this title ought to go to Princess Charlotte. It would be a fitting way to remember the Queen, who, of course, had the title Duchess of Edinburgh. There's something about being a middle child, and there's something even more about being the first granddaughter. King Charles made his thoughts about little Princess Charlotte clear shortly after she was born to Prince William and Princess Catherine. According to Cosmopolitan, during an official visit to the Poundbury community, King Charles told royal patrons, "I was hoping for a granddaughter, someone to look after me when I am very old." The two are not only close, but Princess Charlotte's name is said to be a nod to the king, as Charlotte is the feminine version of Charles. As for how involved King Charles is in his young granddaughter's life, Cosmopolitan further noted that the king meets the kids at their level. Reflecting in the BBC documentary, Prince, Son and Heir, Charles at 70, Camilla, Queen Consort, said that the king tends to get down on his knees and crawl about with them for hours, making funny noises and laughing. If there's one royal who consistently steals the show, it's Prince Louis. The young prince has a penchant for silly faces and shows everyone who's boss, even his grandfather, King Charles. The first real sign of their sweet connection came when King Charles sat with his family for a birthday portrait in 2018. Instead of sitting politely in his mother's arms, Prince Louis wriggled forward and reached for the king's nose. Naturally, the whole family was in hysterics over the little boy's antics. Then, in 2019, Prince Louis made his debut with the royal family during the Trooping the Colour parade and was pictured with his parents on the balcony of Buckingham Palace. But instead of taking in the impressive airshow, Prince Louis waved emphatically to the crowd, turning his attention to his grandpa, who doted on him, evidence of the special bond between the two. Shortly before her passing in 2022, Queen Elizabeth celebrated her Platinum Jubilee. It was, by all accounts, an extremely impressive and personal moment for the monarch. The royal family was out in full force, including the rambunctious Prince Louis.
It was a 4-day event honoring the Queen, but it was a 4-year-old Prince Louis who stole the show.
At a concert for the Queen, Louis clearly needed some stimulation. After making a funny face at his mum and running up the theatre aisle, the prince ran over to King Charles and plopped down on his lap. Charles rested his head on the little prince's shoulder. It was a lovely moment, and social media, of course, took notice. One commenter tweeted, "I'm sure Prince Charles has a special relationship with his grandchildren." But with Prince Louis, you can tell it's different. You can see how close they are. There's a certain connection between them that is beautiful to see. It's beautiful to see Charles being a grandfather. Another Twitter user pointed out King Charles's well-documented love for Louis Mountbatten, the uncle who greatly impacted his life, writing, "How he must enjoy the name living on in the family, in his own and clearly adored grandson." Amid the ongoing royal rift, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have been clear in their messaging. The palace did not do anything to protect them from the vitriol they experienced at the hands of the press. And concerns from inside the palace made it clear that accepting a person of colour into the firm was easier said than done. Royal watchers have been paying attention to every look shared between Prince Harry, Meghan Markle and the royals.
Being that if he doesn't invite the Sussexes, which most people would prefer, that in and of itself is a sort of a media furore on its own.
And the date of King Charles's coronation left little to the imagination. King Charles will be crowned on May 6, 2023, which just so happens to be Archie's birthday. Royal observers quickly asserted that it couldn't be a coincidence. The date seemingly forces Prince Harry to pick a side, his family or the firm. But royal expert Duncan Larkham disagrees, explaining to OK. "The people that are seeing this as some kind of deliberate snub to both Harry and Archie are barking up the wrong tree. Anyone who has ever organised a major event knows that you'll never be able to please everyone on the guest list. It will have been one of those situations where those in charge will have thrown multiple diaries together, that of the king, of religious leaders and of government officials, and decided on this date." As the distance between Prince Harry, Meghan Markle, and the rest of the royal family increases, questions about their children's titles have cropped up in the headlines. As many royal watchers know, the grandchildren of a monarch are entitled to official HRH titles, i.e., His or Her Royal Highness. But King Charles is said to be holding out. Of course, the end of 2022 brought Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's Netflix docuseries, and the first month of 2023 marked the release of Harry's highly anticipated memoir, Spare. The palace has been on high alert, and King Charles is said to be holding off on bestowing the rightful titles onto Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's children, given Prince Harry's public honesty and his status as a non-working royal. A royal insider told The Sun, "That is the agreement. Archie and Lilibet can be prince and princess, but not HRH, because they're not working royals."
What should I call you?
Call me whatever you want at this point.
Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are said to be furious that their son and daughter aren't being given the distinctions they are technically entitled to hold. Time will tell if King Charles will relent and give his California-based grandchildren the titles they deserve. Throughout Prince Harry's memoir, press tour and interviews, one thing has remained clear. His critiques largely fall on the British press and the relationship the tabloids have with palace officials. His grievances have to do with members of his family using their own press offices to further personal agendas. In his interview with People, Prince Harry stated that he wants his children, Archie and Lilibet, to have a relationship with King Charles, but there is one important caveat. Prince Harry explained, "I've said before that I've wanted a family, not an institution. So of course, I would love nothing more than for our children to have relationships with members of my family. And they do with some, which brings me great joy." Royal watchers know that his children have a sweet bond with Princess Eugenie, who's been seen visiting the family in California. In speaking to People about his memoir, Prince Harry said that he wants readers to reach their own conclusions about the royal family as a whole. Harry explained, "This book and its truths are in many ways a continuation of my own mental health journey. It's a raw account of my life, the good, the bad, and everything in between."